Okay, and we are going to uh, we are going to implement, we are going to write some JDBC code. Now till now whatever we have done is just very plain simple menu implementation for our JDBC code. Okay, now what we are going to do next is provide some JDBC interaction, database interaction via Java code. Okay, for that what we are going to do is we are going to provide a separate class which will take care of providing all the JDBC related code. What we are going to do is, imagine it like this. This whole thing is our menu. Okay, this whole thing is our menu visible in our command line. Okay, this is going to repeat. Okay, and then when one is chosen, these details have to be asked, and when these details are asked, and while it is before it prints this insert successful message, it has to do a job. And what is that job? It has to take this data, go to the database, perform the inserting operation, and then come back and print this message. Okay, so let me write down the process. What should happen? What I want is, we need a query, we want to perform insert operation, right? And here our chosen table is user, and so let us write the query. The query has to run is select, sorry, not select, insert into user is the table name, and then these are the three values: name, email, and password, right? So because these are the only three values, we are not choosing the column name. The column names have to be mentioned. It is that type of a construct, sorry, it is that type of a query where we are choosing the column names. The query that I have shown in Workbench, see, we have to write a query where we are choosing the column names, okay, and then providing the values. Okay, so I have to write insert into user table name, followed by I have to choose the column names. So I have to mention the column names, which is user name, email ID, password, followed by that values, followed by that I have to give values. What values I have to give here, that part is very important. So what values we have to give here? We have to give the name, username, comma, we have to give the email ID, comma, we have to give the password. This is the query that we have to execute. Okay, where this value has to be what the value that is entered here, this value has to be the value that is entered here, and this value has to be the value that is entered here. Okay, so this is the query that we have to run. Let me show you that this query is similar to what we have seen in Workbench. See, insert into table name, in the brackets I am mentioning the column names, and then values keyword, followed by that in the brackets I am mentioning the values. Okay, so these are the values. Okay, so let me just copy this for reference, and here I am saying, let us say I'm providing the reference here. Okay, and let me show you with a different color and a different size. Okay, now see, what is the difference? Insert into table name user, within the brackets column name, username, column name, username, email ID, column name, password, column name, password, column name, values command, values keyword, followed by bracket again, yes, single quotes, then value. Okay, single quotes value, single quotes value, single quotes value. Okay, that is the query I want. It means here also I have to write single quote, and within that single quote should be the value entered here, as well as here single quote and single quote, as well as here single quote and single quote. That is the query we want. Okay, we want here to be the value like this Ramu, and here to be the value like this an email address, and then here the value like this, which is the password. Okay, and where these values are coming from, these values are coming from here. Okay, so what are these values? These values are actually the values that are entered by user at the time of reading. Okay, so first of all, let us implement this part. Okay, that means we have to read these values from the choice from the menu. Okay, so as soon as user chooses this one as an option, insert records, currently we are printing something called inserting records, a message called inserting records. Instead of printing a message called inserting records, we will read these values and try to print and see what values we are getting as an output. Okay, so here, instead of printing inserting records, I want to read what? I want to read three values: name, email, and password. So let us read those three values here. But I want to read three values. Let us write those things. Read name, email, and password. Okay. So name is a string type of a value, email is a string type of a value, password is a string type of a value. Okay, so let us declare those variables for usage. String name, email, and password. Okay, and then I'm going to say name is equal to sc dot next. Okay, but before that we also want to see a message like this: enter username. Okay, if that has to happen, we have to, before writing this, we have to also provide a print statement, because print statement is what is visible to the user. So before this, I'm writing a print statement where I am writing what? Enter user name and space, and here I don't want to give ln, so that just like here, enter your choice, when I'm using print with a message and I'm giving a space, what happens? The cursor will be blinking just at the same line. Let me show you once again. Here, if I want the value to be blinking just at the same line, I have to use a print method. Okay, so I'm writing system.out.print, enter your choice with a space, so that it blinks at the same line. And here I am writing name equal to sc.next. Okay, let us just briefly check whether it is working in that way or not. I'm running it and see it is choosing, it is asking enter your choice. I'm choosing 1. Okay, and as soon as I press 1, case 1 will be executed. It will print inserting records, and then it will ask enter username once again, where I have to enter a value. That means it will blink there waiting for an input. Let me show you. When I press enter, see, inserting records is printed, and this blink, okay, it is expecting for some input, where just after the same line, enter username, same line. If I am providing print ln, that same input it will take from the next line. Okay, that is your choice. It need not, it is just is aesthetics. I want it on the same line, and so I'm using print. If you want it on the next line, that is your choice. Okay, so once again, here I have to I want to enter a text value. Because I have given sc.next method which reads text value, I can provide text value. Let us say I want to provide a value called Vikas as my name. Okay, when I press enter, that value will be read in the variable name. Okay, but currently we are not printing what that value is. Okay, that value we will print after the whole reading is over. Okay, so stop the execution for now and let us finish the other parts. I want what? Similar way, I want to read email and password as well. Okay, so what I want to read email. So I want enter user email once again, read the value, then again enter user password once again, read the value. Okay, so I want these two lines to be repeated. So I'm selecting these two lines, copy and paste, and here I'm changing enter user email. Okay, and I'm going to read it, and here also email is a string value, text value, so next method will do the job. Paste again, and here I'm saying enter user password. Okay, password is also a string value, text value, so I can read using next method. Okay, I have read all the three values. Now I'm going to print these values to see what values are inside these three variables. But there is a small mistake here. What is the mistake? I'm asking to enter name. I'm reading and saving in the variable name. Here I'm asking to enter email, and again that email I'm saving in the same variable name. That is a mistake. So I have to change it to email, and here I have to change it to password. Okay, that means when I am asking enter user name, that value is read and saved in the name variable. When I am asking enter user email, I am reading email value entered by user, saving it in email variable. When I am asking enter user password, I am reading user password from the user entered password, and then I am saving it in password. So by the time all these things are executed and we reach line number 26, by the time name, email and password are initialized with values that are entered by user in the input. Okay, and so here we are going to print and see what values are entered by the user. So I'll say print statement, and I'm writing user entered values are. Okay, and in the next line I want to print uh, name is name value, comma, sorry. Okay, once again another print statement, email is email value, another print statement, password is password value. Okay, let us very briefly test it. See, it is asking for choice. I'm choosing one. Okay, and as per the expected behavior, when I choose one, it will go to case 1, and in case 1 it will print inserting records first, and then it will ask enter username and wait for my input. So when I press enter, inserting records is printed, enter username is printed, and then it is waiting for input. This waiting will happen because I am providing sc.next. Here next method expects a string value. I have to give a string value. So I am giving my name. When I press enter, okay, again it is, this value is read and saved in the name variable, and after that it is asking enter user email. This part is printed, and then it is again waiting for some input. What is that? It is waiting for the input because I wrote sc.next. Okay, and whatever I enter will be saved in email. I am entering, okay, suppose, and then when I press enter, that value will be saved in email, and then it will print this message, enter user password. So it is printing enter user password. It is waiting for input because sc.next. Okay, and here whatever I enter will be saved in password variable. I am saying Vikas at 123. When I press enter, that value will be saved in password variable, and then it will print this message. After that, in one line it will print the name value, in another line it will print the email value, and another line it will print the password value. So let us check it. See, it is printing after I have entered my password. It is printing user entered values are, then in the next line name is Vikas, email is vikas@gmail.com, and password is vikas@123. The same values that I have entered in the input. These are the same values. So those values are saved in the respective variables. Okay, cool. Now, as per the expected behavior, these values have to go here. Okay, so let me draw them out for your reference. What I want to do, this value should go here. This value should go here. And this value, sorry, this value should go here. Okay, so this name value should go here, email value should go here, and password value should go here. That is the expected behavior. If they have to go in those respective places, it means I have to use the variables which are storing these values, okay, like in this particular places. Okay, so what I'm going to do is write the same query in my Java code where I'm receiving the value, okay, and try to print this query. Okay, so what is this query? This was the query. Okay, let me once again copy, and here what I'm going to do, instead of printing like this, okay, instead of printing like this, I want to print it like a query. So let me remove these statements. I don't want to print it like this, okay, but I want to print it like a query. What is the query here? Let us say I'm pasting my query here. Wait, it is not pasted correctly. So let me copy the query once again. Okay, and here after reading the password, I want to print paste. Okay, now the query has come. Now let us see how it looks. Okay, it is looking like insert into user followed by column names in the bracket followed by values. Values is going to the next line. That is the problem. Let me say back. Now it is in a single line, no problem. Okay, this is my full query. Okay, where what I want is in the place of Ramu, which is a string value, I want what? I want the name variable value. Okay, and in the place of this I want what? Email variable value, and in the place of this what I want password variable value. Okay, so let me, in this place, let me just write name, and here let me write email, and here let me write password. Okay, and save it. And if I run this query, what will happen? Name, email, and password are the variables. Name, email, and password. This is name, this is email, and this is password. These three are variables. Those variable names I am giving them here. What will happen? All of them are inside the double quotes, and as per Java, anything inside double quotes is considered as a string, and a string value is printed as it is to the output. So let us test it. What will happen? I am running this program once again. Let me stop it and then run this program once again. Enter your choice. I am choosing 1. Okay, inserting records, it is asking for the name. I am giving the same value because it is asking for email now. I am giving the email same value. Okay, and then password, I am giving the same value. And this time, instead of printing them separately as name is so and so, email is so and so, password is so and so, it will print this part, insert into user, everything that I am printing in this particular print statement. But I'm expecting that it should print name value here, email value here, and password, but it won't print like that. See, it is printing what? It is printing, okay. So what is it printing? It is printing the same thing that I have mentioned here. It is not printing the values of name, email, and password. It is printing name, email, and password as text. I want values. And so what I have to do, I have to concatenate. Okay, I have to make separate the string from the variables. Name is a variable. I have to separate it. To separate it, I have to write double quotes plus. That way I am saying that this string value, okay, is concatenated with the name variable value. Okay, in the same way, after name variable value, I want a plus, and then I have to write double quotes. Now when you write like this, it will be confusing because it is creating an extra double quotes. So let me not do it like this. There is a easier, simpler way of doing it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, in between this bracket and name, because name I want as a variable, okay, so just before the name variable I'm going to put two double quotes. So I'm writing one double quote and one more double quote. Okay, and then in between the double quote I'm writing 2 times plus. Okay, and this name variable I'm going to remove from here and put in between plus. Okay, that way what will happen, whatever is the name variable value, that will be printed after bracket before comma. Let me show you. Email and password will be printed as it is, but name variable value will be printed as per its value. Let us test it once. Okay, I'm choosing one again, inserting records. It is asking for the value. I'm giving my name. I'm giving email as my previous value and password as my previous value. When I press enter, this statement is going to be printed, but here in the place of name it will print the value. What is that value? Vikas is the value. Let us test it. Now see guys, the query looks like this. It is having Vikas. Email and password is printed as it is, but Vikas is coming from the value of that particular variable, and that is important. Let us make the same change for other things. Just before the variable, two double quote symbol, inside the double quote symbol, two plus symbols, and this email variable delete from here and write inside the plus, in between the plus. Okay, once again let us test it. Running it again, I am choosing one, I'm choosing the value of name, I'm entering the value of email, and I am entering the value of password. Okay, and when I press enter, what will happen? Name value Vikas will be printed, and email value vikas@gmail.com will be printed, and password will be printed as the text. Okay, see, vikas@gmail.com and password. Okay, so let us make the same change to password as well. Just before the password variable I'm writing two double quote symbol, and before double quote I'm writing two plus symbol. Okay, and then this password variable delete, and in between the plus symbols I'm writing password once again. Okay, so now in the place of password also it should get the value that I'm entering. Let us test once again. One, vikas@gmail.com, vikas@123. See, we got it. Okay, now does this match with the right with the query that I want in my database? Let me show the query. In database we are writing values inside single quotes. See, we are writing values inside single quotes, values inside single quotes. Okay, values inside single quotes. Okay, that is what I am writing. Okay, and the in the Paint also I showed you the values has to be inside single quotes. Here also I told you values have to be inside single quotes. Currently when I'm printing this query, they are not inside single quotes. Okay, they are not inside single quotes. Okay, so for that what we can do to make the query provide the values inside single quotes, I am going to write single quote just before this double quote. Okay, and then just after this double quote. Okay, now I'm saving it and let us check what value we see. I'm choosing one, Vikas at gmail.com, Vikas at 123. Now you see we have single quotes, and this is the kind of query that we have to make. Okay, so let us make the same update to other variable values just before the variable, and just before the variable plus and then double quotes. Before the double quotes I'm writing single quote, after the double quotes I'm writing single quote. Again here also for password, before password plus, before that double quotes, before double quotes single quote, and after double quote after the password variable I'm putting a single quote. Okay, now let us save it and let us run this program. I'm choosing one once again, and I'm entering the name, I'm entering Gmail, email, and then I'm entering password. And now you see the query that we want matches with the syntax of the query that we run in the database. Now if I take this query and run it in our SQL server, it will work and give us the result. Let me copy it from this output itself. Copy. Okay, and I'm going to database MySQL server, this MySQL workbench, and I'm going to insert. Okay, I'm going to insert once again. Okay, I'm inserting once again. Observe, it is the same query that I have taken from the console. Okay, though the values are same, but duplicates of name, email and password is, we are not checking for that. We are only checking for the duplicates of user ID. Okay, which is the first column. This should not be repeated, but other things can be repeated. So I'm running this query. There is no error in the query execution. Now select query and see the last column is 105 record, 105 ID with the same values. That means record execution was a success. Okay, let me show you from command line client. Select query once again. See this last record 105, it is the same values that I have just copied from Eclipse console. Okay, and where I'm getting this data from, I am printing the data based on the values entered by user. Okay, but why are we doing all that? Why are we trying to create this query using string? Because this is the query we want to execute in the database. Okay, we want to execute this type of a query in the database, now creating this query is the first step in JDBC programs. Okay, let me write it down. Creating this query is the first step in writing this program, writing JDBC program. Creating the query with variable values is the first step in JDBC programming. Okay, creating the query with variable values is the first step in JDBC programming. Okay, if we cannot create this query, then we cannot write JDBC programs. Okay, that is the first step. Okay, And this type of a query, when we are creating a query with variable values, then that type of a query has a name. That type of a query is called as dynamic query. That type of a query is called as dynamic query. Query with variable values. Okay, query with variable values is called as dynamic query. And writing dynamic query in your program, and writing dynamic query in such a way that it internally includes variable values, and finally the final query looks as expected, which also runs in your MySQL server, is the first step. Okay, and we have achieved our first step. We have created our query which runs. Now let me give different values and let us see if that also runs. Okay, I am continuing in the execution. It is continuing. I'm choosing one once again. Okay, and I am choosing the another username value. Let us say I'm choosing Vikram. Okay, and Vikram at gmail.com. Did I already give Vikram before? Let me check in Workbench. Vijay is there, Vikram is not there. Okay, so let me give that. Okay, Vikram at gmail.com and Vikram at 123. Okay, and it is creating this query. Okay, this query I want to select copy. Okay, select copy. Okay, and then this query I'm going to database and I'm going to execute the query. Okay, this query I'm going to execute from the database. Okay, now this query, when I execute from the database, execution is successful, and we can see in the query, in the table, that it is actually added. That means the query is running. Our dynamic query that we have just created is running. Let us test it from command line client as well. Okay, see the latest data Vikram, the data that I have collected from user, from Java input, and with which I created the dynamic query, that dynamic query is working. And that is our first step in writing JDBC programs.